Saludos, saludos, ¿cómo están? Gracias por estar con nosotros a esta hora y tenemos un tema muy interesante que queremos compartir con todos ustedes hoy. Soy Oscar Arango, esto es City en Vivo y queríamos conversar sobre un tema muy interesante. Tocábamos la semana pasada este tema que tiene que ver con los niños, el abuso infantil. So, today we want to talk about child abuse y por supuesto hablar sobre si son los niños latinos más maltratados que otros niños. ¿Qué les parece a ustedes? ¿Será cierto eso de que a los niños latinos, los niños como nosotros que venimos de esta cultura latina, los maltratan más que a otros? Quizás, por ejemplo, que a los blancos. ¿Cree eso? Well, so today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about child abuse and we're going to try to find out if the Latinos, are more abused than other kids. So, we're going to invite right now to bring her on camera. She's Alisa Martin. She is the program director for New Horizons, which is an awesome program from Community Health Center. Hi, Alisa. How are you? Good afternoon.
I'm great, Oscar. How are you?
I'm doing well. Nice to see you. Happy Friday.
You as well. Happy Friday.
Thank you. We needed to talk about this. Today is April 30th, so it's the last day of April, and I know we were talking about April is the children abuse awareness month, and today is the last day. So we thought it was a very good opportunity to talk about this. What do you think?
I mean, absolutely. It's always really important that we talk about this and not just in April, but of course, moving beyond April as well.
Yeah, it's April 30th, but on top of that, we're still living on a pandemic right now. So a lot of those kids are staying, in the house, right? They're staying at home. They're not going out like they used to go outside. So let's start talking about that before we jump into the main topic. If the Latinos or, those kids of color get more abused than other kids. So, but let's talk about that. What do you think about the kids right now, in their houses, spending more time, maybe alone in front of a computer? What do you think about that?
I think it can absolutely be isolating. I think I'm happy that I believe this morning it was announced that there isn't going to be a mandate for children to work remotely starting this fall. So I'm excited for kids to be able to get back in their in their day to day in their social groups, especially because that's a way that we can identify if child abuse is going on or not.
Now, Alisa, we talk about factors, that can impact child abuse, but what are some barriers, for children of color in reporting their experiences? And I'm talking about Latinos, African Americans, what are those barriers, for them to reporting their experiences?
Yeah. While I'm excited that kids get to go back to school, unfortunately, we know that children of color, including Latino children, are treated differently by adults in schools. And what can be a barrier to that is we talked a lot last week about how an example of children experiencing child abuse is acting out in class, right? But we know that kids of color are often punished for more heavily than white children for acting out. And so a conversation that should be about, I see that you're doing this, how can I help you, can become a conversation where a trusted adult may just focus on what that child did wrong, and therefore kind of making that child feel like, okay, this isn't a safe place for me to tell anyone anything, thereby those children not receiving the help that their white classmates might receive.
Absolutely. Now, I know New Horizons provide, multiple services for those kids and of course, other family members that are, suffering of, domestic violence and being abused somehow. But now the question is, how do you consider, the needs of children of color when providing those services?
Absolutely. We think about part of the services we provide. Firstly, we try to make every effort to have a diverse staff. Make sure we hire people that can speak Spanish or have experiences that might relate to the people we serve. And so we make every effort. But in the event that we work with clients where we don't speak the same language, we do use an interpretation service called Language Line. And we also, anything written is offered in Spanish and in other languages if available. And just really, that understanding that this is why community is so important. We are, if there's something we don't know or a resource that, would help our kids that we don't have, we reach out to our community partners to help us with that.
What about if we incorporate the immigration, topic on this? A lot of these kids are, might be afraid and they don't want to say anything because, they are scared to be deported or their families could be deported. So what do you think about that? Do you guys work with, immigration somehow to help these families?
Yes, so we what we can do is firstly any client or their children's immigration status, that's confidential. If that's shared with us, we don't share that out with anyone without that client's permission. But we also do have resources we can offer. We can refer parents and kids to immigration lawyers that we at the very least try to get in contact to make sure, because we really want to, if that's something the parent wants or to help protect themselves or their kids, if that's something they want to pursue, we want to support them in doing that.
Para la gente que nos está viendo a esta hora, estamos hablando con Alisa Martin, quien es la directora de programas de New Horizons, un programa espectacular que se ha caracterizado por todos estos años de ayudar a las familias que están pasando por cierto tipo de violencia doméstica, que pasan por cierto abuso. Si es, por ejemplo, niños, por supuesto, el abuso infantil. Así que estamos preguntando cómo trabaja New Horizons y ya mismo le vamos a compartir la página de internet para que busquen más información. Pero estamos hablando, por ejemplo, cómo New Horizons ayuda a estos niños, por ejemplo, a comunicarse. Y me está diciendo de que supuestamente Alisa, la gente tiende quizás a tener miedo o saber de que de pronto no me van a ayudar, no me van a poder ayudar porque yo hablo español y eso es una compañía o una agencia que habla solamente inglés. Normalmente se contrata personas que hablen español o que hablen otros idiomas para poderle garantizar a las personas y a las familias un servicio completo y que pueda ser, por supuesto, bueno. Pero bueno, Alisa, I have another question. So what are the ways to encourage the children, to encourage the kids to feel safe and happy in our community, especially during these difficult times?
It's really important that we support, prevent child abuse prevention programs, and maybe support groups in the community, or, if you identify a need in your community, taking the initiative to ask, your city representatives or the people that could be involved to make that program a reality. And other ways too is just acknowledging and educating kids that they have rights. They have a right to a safe environment. They have a right to their childhood. And another big factor I would say is watch. It's not just about how we communicate with our own kids. Making sure we communicate with our kids respectfully. But it's also about how we communicate with each other. Last week we talked about how kids are sponges. They'll absorb the example they see in adults. And so it's really important that we treat not just other children, but one another with respect.
Absolutely. Alisa, now question, how can people get more information? Is there a website that people can visit?
Absolutely. So you can find us at www.newhorizonsdv.com. That you'll find all of our information there. And then we also have two hotline numbers to share with you. The the Spanish line is 1-844-831-9200. The English hotline is 1-888-774-2900, and you can see that right at the top of the screen there. But there is that Spanish line as well. Um, so yeah, you can find all of our information there.
Absolutely. Vamos a poner otra vez los números de teléfonos ahí en la parte de abajo de la pantalla para que los puedan ver. Los teléfonos en español y en inglés. Y lo que están viendo ahora mismo es el website que es newhorizonsdv.com. Pero también lo otro son estos dos números de teléfono en los cuales ustedes pueden buscar información. Ahí están, la línea en inglés y la línea en español. Todo es confidencial. Y por supuesto, estamos hablando de violencia doméstica, estamos hablando de abuso infantil. Y lo principal es tener en mente el 911, 911 si hay una emergencia. Y por supuesto, aprender a hablar, aprender a no tener miedo, que si me van a deportar, no los van a deportar. Por supuesto que no, no se puede tener miedo y se tiene que de cierta manera hablar para poder acabar con el abuso. Y muchas veces los abusadores son incluso el papá o la mamá. Right, Alisa, I was saying that, in a lot of cases, the abuser, it could be the mom or dad, right? In too many cases, that's the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Child abuse occurs, from these, parents might feel the stress, and we covered a little bit of that last week, but the additional stressors, the financial burden, I mean, and especially just simple support, we supporting parents that need that extra support, even just through something as basic as, do they have diapers, can actually be a way to prevent child abuse. But yeah, abuse generally occurs close to home, either from parents or, a trusted adult like a teacher. Things like that. So it's really important that we pay attention to that.
Había una encuesta que salió hace 10 años y los números han cambiado desde entonces, pero solamente para que tengan una idea, las últimas cifras oficiales estiman que en el 2011 murieron 1.770 niños por malos tratos, pero un informe reciente del Congreso estadounidense señala que el número real podría acercarse a los 2.500. De hecho, Estados Unidos tiene los peores registros de abusos del mundo industrializado. Así que en Estados Unidos se presentan muchos abusos infantiles, así que hay que tener mucho cuidado y hablar. Nuevamente, ahí en la parte de abajo está el número de teléfono en inglés y en español. The phone numbers, you can see them down, on the bottom. You have the English line and of course the Spanish line as well for you to call. Alisa Martin, thank you so much, Program Director for New Horizons. Thank you so much for stopping by and talk to us about this. We had to. And hopefully we can have you next time as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad I could be a part of this.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. So we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.